We got the one and only Mr. Justin Roethlingshoefer. We're going to be talking about optimizing your health, run your body like you run your business. Just the floor is yours, brother.
You want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Cary Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality.
Let's get
Awesome,
it.
Cary. I just appreciate being able to be here with you guys. I'm literally stepped up in a hotel here in Boca Raton, Florida, getting ready to hit the stage tonight in about 2.5 hours. So I just appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys and just be present while I'm here. And kind of going off of what Cary was talking about, and I think oftentimes when we get in these groups and we hear health optimization, it's like, oh, another guy coming on trying to sell us to get into a funnel of some way, shape, and form. But my goal today, my biggest mission, and my reason why I'm here is I want to help you leave differently, with a different mindset and a different thought process as to how health actually works. I want you to have a paradigm shift. This is not about having six packs of abs and muscles, but what does the inside look like, and how do we optimize the number system that is important for our bodies in order to step forward? And the reason that I got here, and the reason that this has been such a pivotal thing in my life was, as Cary mentioned, I went through a little bit of a journey myself. I knew at the age of 8 that the Lord just had a calling on my heart to be a part of the redemption story, the health of the world. I didn't know what that looked like, but I was the fat kid. I became the anorexic kid. I had liver and kidney failure at 16 years old, was fed through a feeding tube through 8 months. I was fortunate and blessed enough to come down on a hockey scholarship at 19. I went on a mission and a journey to learn more about the body than anybody could ever imagine, so that I could basically solve the problem that nobody could solve for me. I didn't want to know why something was happening. I wanted to know what was the underlying cause. Not how do you treat something, but what's actually going on? What's the truth behind what's going on? And so I did 2 undergraduate degrees, got my master's degree, was fortunate to sign a professional contract. And during that, one of my mentors said, you're not going to be a hockey player forever, so you better invest in coach, or you better invest in what you're passionate about. So I went and got my postgraduate doctoral research in sleep and heart rate variability. After I retired, I wasn't happy with the answers that I got through all the education so far. So I went into functional medicine, massage therapy, and cellular healing practices. And that found me my first role in the National Hockey League as a director of player performance. Started to see massive healing, massive longevity, added years to players' careers. Started writing books 10 years later after living a lifestyle of building businesses, being on stages, and trying to strive for something. I was like, you know what was it look like to do something different? And was diagnosed with 4 precancerous polyps in my colon and a bleeding cancerous ulcer in my stomach. Was told I wouldn't see 35. And that was the year that we birthed Own It, where I stepped away from the NHL and really knew that my mission and purpose was to redeem the health of the leaders, the people who are doing the thing, the people who often sacrifice their health for their mission, but fail to realize that if this thing isn't well, if this thing isn't sound, if this thing isn't in optimal running shape, I don't care what's on your heart. I don't care what your calling is. I don't care what you're called to go and do. You're going to have less capacity to be able to see it through as a father, as a business owner, as a husband, as a leader. And so this is the only tool we get to ultimately execute on that call. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm investing time. That's why Cary and I, when we connected, we're excited to come and do some things. And Cary's going to spend some time with me at the end of September here and figure out how we can do some more together. My wife and I We're fortunate we have built our company to a team of 50 of some of the wisest, some of the best, some of the most inspirational people who are deeply credentialed, deeply educated, with a high level of experience to be able to take over 3,500 7 and 8 figure business owners on journeys. And I've been blessed to be able to go, as Cary's mentioned, on the road with some of the most influential people that we know. And so that's who I am. That's my journey. My wife and I just built what we call the Health Haven in Miami. We turned our house into a place of healing where we teach people how to live differently. So you guys are going to experience one of my buddies, Ben Greenfield's place. And then hopefully we'll be able to get you down to the Health Haven in Miami as well to see what it looks like to do it a little bit differently. So with that being said, today, like I want to keep this informal. If you guys have questions, throw it in the chat. You want to ask something, unmute yourself. But my biggest thing here at the end of the 45-minute session is I want to make sure that you guys have a new understanding of what happens inside our bodies and what is happening and what's important and to why that matters. This isn't just about tactics and tricks. Tactics and tricks are transactional. It's only when we actually know the truth that can be actual transformational. And this is where we're going. And I'm called to serve you guys. I sit and walk in the same shoes as y'all do. And so that's where we're going. That's where we're leading. Everyone on board with that? Cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Objectives? Great. Awesome. So I want to come back to a fundamental truth that we have to accept before we go any further. Is number one is your body was built to heal. You were created to heal. Built to heal, created to heal. And I don't say that as like this woo-woo biblical mentality. Is your body was built to heal. You have 30 trillion cells working inside of your body at any given point in time. They synergistically work together to create life as we know it. The ability to see, the ability to hear, the ability to stand up, the ability to exercise, the ability to create. When we sit and think about that, 30 trillion cells, every 84 days, 500 million of those cells become completely brand new, completely regenerated, completely turned over. That means that over a course of a 5 to 7 year period, you become a completely brand new cellular human being. That's not just a made up fallacy. That is scientific and biblical aligned truths. That's the uniqueness in how you were created and the greatness to what you have inside. Whether you thrive over the course of those 5 years or whether you become and start to decay is solely dependent upon your actions and behaviors that you take daily. Is solely dependent upon the habits, behaviors, and rhythms that you execute on a daily basis. So I'm going to share my screen here with you, and we're going to start to draw some things that start to become very interactive. And so if we come back to some of these truths, and we come back to some of these components that we have to accept as reality, if we know, you guys can see my screen, thumbs up?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So if we take a look at this, and we know that at the end of the day, cells are what govern our health in our body. We know that cells require three things in order for a cell to thrive over the course of those 7 years or decay over the course of 7 years, to thrive over the course of those 84 days or to die off on the course of those 84 days. They need oxygen. They need the ability to detoxify, and they need nutrients. This goes into the deepest, most basic elementary form of cellular biology. Your cells have to have these three things. If they do not have these three things, it creates what we know as stress. I can put oxidative stress just because that's the clinical term, but stress, let's just leave it at that in terms of how we think about it. I'm not talking about the pull your hair out stress when it's like a full contact sport to get your kids to school, or your CFO just all of a sudden said, hey, I'm going to go take another job, or you can't figure out these AI mechanisms and you're starting to get frustrated and stress yourself out. I'm talking about the stuff we take for granted. The stuff that we take for granted, that we just wake up in the morning, our eyes open, there's air in our lungs, our feet are moving, and we go and we do our thing. Behind the scenes, there is stress that our body is dealing with that we don't even know is happening. It's like the people in our business that we hire that all of a sudden go and deal with all the minutia and all the little fires that we don't even get to know and understand. But all of a sudden, if we fired them, or if they quit, we'd have a blow up in our business. That is what's happening behind the scenes within our cells. That's why we have to know what this is. We have to have a way to measure this. And the way in which we do this, some people might have heard of this number. How many people have heard of heart rate variability? Heart rate variability, couple people. Okay. Heart rate variability, HRV. At its core, HRV is the language of our body that's communicating to us how it's handling stress. It is the language of our body of how it is handling stress. So it's basically saying, hey, how am I handling stress through oxygen, the ability to detoxify, and do I have enough nutrients? Do I have oxygen to breathe? Do I have more than enough toxins or more than I can handle? And do I have nutrients in which I can stay above board? HRV is that language. It's the language in which our body's communicating how it is handling stress. Now, if we sit here for a second, and if Cary has an HRV, pardon me, let's just go resting heart rate of 60 beats per minute, and I have a resting heart rate of 60 beats per minute, would it make sense to say that, hey, our heart is beating at 1 beat per second? Would that make simple sense, simple math? Yeah. Well, that's great that it would make sense because that's not how our body functions. What actually ends up occurring is if we look at this, heart rate variability measures the difference in time interval between each successive beat. So let's say Cary is eating really well. He gets outside. He's got a consistent sleep and wake time. He trains well. He's hydrated. He's got a great connection with his spouse. He's got a great rhythm between stressing in his business and coming back and regenerating at night. What ends up happening is his body goes, oh, you know what? I'm going to beat at 795 milliseconds. I'm going to beat at 895 milliseconds. I'm going to beat at 995 milliseconds. I'm going to beat at 865 milliseconds. And if we look at the difference in time interval, this is 100 milliseconds, this is 100 milliseconds, this is 130 milliseconds. We take the average. Cary's HRV is equal to, let's call it 119. Now let's take Justin on the other hand. Justin takes his first glass of water at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. His first drink in the morning is always coffee. His second drink is always coffee. He has a bagel on the way to drop the kids off at school. He comes home, he gets right into work. He doesn't exercise. He travels all the time. He's constantly pushing and stressing in the business. He only gets outside to take the trash out and take the dog for a quick walk after dinner. And he's up until midnight sending emails, and he's up at 5 a.m. just to try to get everything done. This guy's body, my body, goes, hey, let's take those same 795 milliseconds. We've just got to keep this guy alive. Becomes 775, becomes 785, becomes 765. We look at the time difference between those intervals, and all of a sudden, it's 20, it's 10, that's 20. My HRV is equal to 15. Even though Cary and I both have the same resting heart rate, our body is communicating something extremely different. A higher HRV means you're adapting positively to the stress and strain that you're being exposed to. The habits, the behaviors, the rhythms in your life, your body has what it needs. It's positive. The lower your HRV, it's an alert. Something in your life is not right. My body is having to adapt to more than it should be. Something is not occurring positively. We have to make changes to our habits, our behaviors, and our lifestyle. And so knowing this, if we look at this, does a higher HRV indicate more or less oxidative stress on our cells?
Less.
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 That's right. Exactly. A higher HRV indicates lower oxidative stress on our cells. So the next logical question is, okay, Justin, how do we improve HRV? Because a question that I often get is, what's a good HRV? Well, higher is better. But if you're 45 years old and you don't have an HRV of 50 to 75, your body's communicating something. If you're 30 years old and you don't have an HRV of 65 to 90, your body's communicating something to you. And then somewhere in between, I can take you up to 55. I know that one off the top of my head. If you don't have an HRV of 40 to 65, your body's communicating something. If you are in this age bracket, now you can go 35 and it's going to be somewhere between 50 and 60 is going to be kind of where you want to be. But again, if you are below this, you don't have a genetically low HRV, your body is communicating something. And whether you choose to listen to it and whether you choose to understand it is solely your prerogative. And it's either going to help you thrive or it's going to cause you to decay. So if we know that a higher HRV is positive, we know that it means that there's less oxidative stress. The next logical question is, how do I improve it? Well, there's three ways, and it comes back to three languages, the three things the cells need. First one is oxygen. And the language for oxygen in our body is VO2 max. Anybody ever heard of VO2 max? Yeah, some people. Great. When we think about VO2 max, the language of VO2 max is, again, a language from our body of how efficient we are at using oxygen. Here's the crazy part. Oxygen has to be efficiently used in our body in order to just sustain life. The definition of death is the absence of oxygen in the brain. And so VO2 max is no longer just for athletes. It's no longer just for Olympians. It is a metric of wellness. And the higher your HRV and the higher your VO2 max, when those two are correlated, it is the greatest metric of long-term health that we've ever been able to find and correlate. The greatest cause of all cause mortality can be predicted by those two metrics aligned side by side. And so we have to be able to sit into this. So when we see this language of using oxygen, for men, you need to have a VO2 max of 45 or greater. If you're below 45, it is a huge language barrier to how our body is able to use oxygen. How do you find this? There's three ways. Number one, we can use our wearable to estimate it. Whoop and Aura, they've got these estimators in there. You can actually find them there. Two, we can do a actual test. We do this on all of our clients, no matter where they are in the country, to be able to identify an exact number. And three, you can do a Cooper test. This is a 12-minute run test. And you cover max distance in 12 minutes. You can do it on the treadmill or the track. As men, if you do not get 1.51 miles or greater in 12 minutes, it means, based off of the equation in which we do to calculate it, you have a VO2 max of lower than 45. If you cannot cover 1.51 miles in 12 minutes, you have a VO2 max of less than 45. And so if Cary has a VO2 max of 55 and I have a VO2 max of 45, whose body is it more stressful on to sit and listen to this conversation? Mine. Whose body is it more stressful on to go up a flight of stairs? Mine. Whose body is it more stressful on to sleep at night? Mine. Not stress, pull your hair out. I won't notice it. Cary won't notice it. We'll be sitting here having the same conversation, but my body is having to work harder sitting in this pace than Cary's is because I don't have the efficiency. And so when we start to lean into this, we can start to go, okay, interesting, Justin. How do we improve this? Well, there's 3 ways, and we won't dive into them extremely deep, just in a case of time. But this is where we have to look at 180 minutes per week of zone 2. This is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. We can do this any way. We can do this walking, we can do this jogging, we can do this pushing a sled, we can do this elliptical, we can do this bike riding, we can do this swimming. Doesn't matter. 180 minutes a week in any way, shape, or form. Then 30 minutes per week, zone 5. This is 90 to 100% of our max heart rate. This is the heavy interval stuff. This is the sprint for 800 meters, rest for 3 minutes. Sprint for 800 meters, rest for 3 minutes. Getting into what we call cardiac efficiency training. And then getting into cardiac output training. And then the last thing is strength training 3 times per week with what we call a rep in reserve count. Because I see too many times men go in and they do bicep curls with 35s, they do 8 reps, they put them down. But if I said, hey, Cary, I want you to go grab that same weight, do as many reps as you can, he'd probably rep out 25. So what does doing 8 reps do? Nothing. Your body doesn't have to adapt to anything. And so when we think about reps in reserve, we want to think about grabbing a weight that you cannot do more than 1 to 2 reps past the count. So if I said, Cary, I want you to go do dumbbell bench press, 3 sets of 10, you would grab a weight that you could do 3 sets of 10 with, but you don't know if you could have done an 11th or a 12th rep. And that's how we program everything. And so this is how we build all programming and everything for our clientele, where we now come in and it's without a doubt guaranteed that we start to see an increase in VO2 max. If we see an increase in VO2 max, does it increase or decrease oxygen efficiency in the body?
Increase.
Increase. If we increase oxygen in the body, does it increase or decrease oxidative stress on the body?
Decrease.
Decrease oxidative stress. If we decrease oxidative stress, does it increase or decrease HRV?
Increase.
If it increases HRV, does it increase or decrease cellular health?
Increase.
Right. So we start to see this inevitable outcome. We start to see how this is no longer just a philosophy. This is actually data-driven so that it becomes literally inevitable. I have this equation that I talk about all the time in my book. It's when consistent and intentional. That's not how you spell intentional. Good try, Justin. Intentional behaviors are done over the course of time, it creates inevitable outcomes. And too often I see in our health, we think that doing a blood test is going to solve our problem. We think that going and grabbing a supplement is going to grab our problem. We think that going and doing somebody else's workout is going to go solve our problem. We think that going and joining a community is going to solve our problem. We think that going and doing some random health gimmick is going to solve our problem. Sit in front of a red light, go in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, get in a cryo or a cold plunge. I love all these things. They're all amazing tools. They have their place. But what does consistent and intentional behaviors look like done over the course of time with high degrees of accountability to create the inevitable outcome you're looking for? More energy, reversal of autoimmune disorder, weight loss, more mental clarity, more focus, greater libido, increase in testosterone, you name it. It only happens through this. And this is ultimately where we're going. Next one, detoxification. What's the language of detoxification? The language is sleep quality. Why sleep quality? Because we sleep in 4 sleep stages. There's a light sleep stage, a slow wave sleep stage, a REM cycle, and a wake cycle. It takes approximately 90 minutes to get through all 4 stages. The difference is it's only these middle 2 stages that are actually sleep quality. It's only in these middle 2 stages that something called the glymphatic system is actually active. It's like the car wash for your brain and your cells. It's what eliminate all the toxins, all the beta amyloid, all the plaques that get built up all day from the crap you breathe, to the crap you eat, to the crap you drink, to the oxidative stress that comes out from training and working out that you have to do in order to increase VO2 max. So it's not just bad stressors, it's good stressors too that your body has to clear. And it's only during these middle 2 sleep stages that it's active. So we need 38 to 50% of our total sleep time in these middle 2 sleep stages. Why? Because it's only during those stages that the glymphatic system is active. It's not active here, it's not active here, it's not active anywhere else other than those middle 2 sleep stages. And so the way in which we measure this has to be through a wearable device. This is why I love Whoop and Aura. They've got a lot of algorithms, they've got a lot of recovery scores, they've got a lot of strain scores that are shit. I hate them, they're trash. You can throw them out with everything else that they've got going on. But what they do really, really well is they do HRV amazingly well. They do sleep quality amazingly well. Those are the 2 things that they are gold standard for. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Everything else, trash. Throw it out. It sucks. And so when we come around to this, the next question I get was, well, how do we improve sleep quality? The first thing is we make sure that we have a consistent sleep and wake time. What this does is it creates a consistent moment in when testosterone increases, cortisol increases, and melatonin increases. Testosterone should increase in men ideally at 4 p.m. We should have an increase in melatonin by 10 p.m. We should have an increase in cortisol by 6 a.m. So we wake up wired, we go to bed tired. That is how the rhythm was built. But we go to bed wired and we wake up tired because we've created an inverse in our circadian rhythm. So a consistent sleep and wake time is the best thing we can do there. The second thing is to get our PM AM routine set. Why do I go PM AM? In Genesis, it talks about evening came, morning came, first day. That's how our days are structured.
What is up, fam? I want to share with you something that I'm super stoked about, and that is my Neurable AI headphones. These things are bad to the bone. Probably the best headphones I've ever owned. They have these EEG tracking brain sensors that help me boost performance and avoid burnout because they tell me when I need a brain break. They also have amazing sound. You can take calls, they have noise cancellation, all the things that headphones deliver. Neurable.ai and Master and Dynamic have created in these MW75 Neuros, and you get the hookup. That is the best part. You can go to Neurable.ai and use code HAPPY to save $100 off your pair. Badass Neurable.ai headphones. So check them out. One of the best things that I've ever done for my business is invest in my brand. Specifically, that means investing in my graphic design, my logo design, my company website, company swag. All things brand are imperative. Heck, you can catch me rocking something Happy Hustle branded pretty much every single day of the week. And I'm super excited about pairing up with my friends at 99 Designs by Vista because they can help you optimize your brand too. And right now they're running $25 off your first design contest if you go to 99designs.com/happy. But not only do you get 25 bucks off, when you do that and you shoot over an email to my team, Cary at The Happy Hustle, you can be entered to win one of these amazing swag boxes, which will have a lot of fun and super cool swag from The Happy Hustle. And fun fact too, this swag box was designed and created by 99 Designs. This box is a great representation of my brand. So when you get a package from us, it comes in a Happy Hustle branded box with all different types of websites, custom quotes, shout outs for the podcast, 10 alignments lists. It has a personal message from myself on the inside of the box that shares a little bit about our mission. It also shares the definition of the Happy Hustle, aka the systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being, ensuring life balance without the burnout. So if you're interested in optimizing your brand, you gotta check out 99designs.com/happy. Save yourself 25 bucks on the design contest. Send over your email receipt to Cary at The Happy Hustle and be entered to win a new swag box. We're picking a winner every single week. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Evening came, morning came, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day. It's biblical truth, a foundation of how the days were built. But we, as Americans, North Americans, think that let's wake up in the morning and let's go and do, and then let's fall into bed at night. So we have to get our PM routine set. So what does it look to reacclimatize after work, get back into a calming state at night? And then what does it look like to build in what I call a 3-2-1 rule? No food 3 hours before bed. No work 2 hours before bed. No blue light 1 hour before bed. 400 times more melatonin in our gut than is produced by the pineal gland in our brain. Food shuts off the melatonin release. Work, our body doesn't know the difference, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional stress. Thus it increases cortisol, decreases melatonin at night. Blue light, for every 30 minutes of blue light exposure after the sun sets, suppresses melatonin release by up to 1 hour. Everybody who went up to Montana, you guys probably noticed that all of a sudden out in the woods, you slept deep, you slept well. You didn't have any of the blue light pollution. And you start, unless you're boozing at night and all around and talking and hanging out, then you're going to have something different that we have to talk about.
Some were afraid of bears, Justin, so they were up all night clenching their knives.
Cortisol.
I was just about to say, then we got to teach them how to hunt, bro.
Yeah. That's what
there's no
Justin,
AI that protects you in the wild.
when
I'm
you're
watching a
talking
show right
about-
now. It's on Netflix. It's brand new. I can't remember what it's called. Tamed, maybe Untamed. It's amazing, by the way. If anyone wants a good Netflix show, just watch it before 2 hours before bed.
Yeah.
But there's a bumper sticker in there. It says you can't say wilderness without the wild, and so stupid. But
yeah,
I'll bring us back.
Yeah. Well, Chris had something. Chris, did you have something related to this
Yeah.
right now?
On the 2 hours no work, that doesn't count. Does that count for like personal development or like reading a book?
100%. Yes. Yep. We want to shut all that down, because what happens is your mind starts processing. It starts decision making. It starts trying to learn. It's your brain is the greatest AI tool, and it will always start searching for the answers. And so if we don't down regulate and we're trying to learn something new, it thinks it's upregulating. So we have to find that differentiating factor, which is why we have to start purposefully programming. Then in the morning, we have a 1-2-3 rule. First thing in the morning, we want to connect. What does it look like to connect? We get connected through breath work. We get connected through prayer. We get connected through meditation. We get connected through training. We get connected through working out. We get connected through getting outside. We get connected in some way, shape, or form. The next is commit. We commit to doing something that we really needed to lean into. What is that? Is that a workout that you need to do? Is it getting your kids to school? Is it the first big thing that you need to get done in your business so that something big is done? And then the third hour is where we calm and we get our first meal. So you've got a consistent sleep time, a consistent wake time. You've got a connect, a commit, and a calm. So now what we've done is we've created a natural circadian rhythm, but also a circadian eating window. Fast started 3 hours before bed. We went all night. It ended 3 hours after we woke up. And we've given ourselves now a natural 14-hour fasting window, which becomes so powerful in getting our body to really be able to build through this. And if we follow this, you'll notice that all of a sudden sleep quality jumps to 38 to 50%. Our lymphatic system is active. We start detoxifying rather than recycling toxins in our body. And so if all of a sudden I go here and we increase sleep quality, does it increase or decrease our ability to detoxify? Increase. If we increase the ability to detoxify, does it increase or decrease oxidative stress?
Increase.
Increase, decrease HRV?
Increase.
Increase, decrease cellular health?
Increase.
Increase. And the last one is nutrients, which we talk about cellular deficiencies. Now, this is where we really blow a lot of this stuff out of the water, because especially in men, we hear all the time about testosterone deficiencies, cortisol issues, estrogen and progesterone imbalances. And when we start even melatonin supplementation, and people...
Justin, I got one more question about the sleep.
Yeah, let me see. Who am I talking to?
Chris Ball.
Awesome, Chris. Yeah, what's up?
So we need 38 to 50% in those two parts of the sleep quality.
You got
Does
it.
it matter how many hours?
No, because so people often ask me this. It's very hard to sleep less than 5 hours and get 38 to 50% in sleep quality.
Okay.
I've never seen it, to be honest with you. And so what will happen is I don't want you to get 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. I've seen people get 10 hours and have 25% sleep quality.
Okay.
This is why they wake up fatigued and tired all the time. And so this number right here is what you want to focus on, is the quality of sleep you're getting. And then instead of focusing on the quantity, focus on your rhythm and your routine of getting into that quality of sleep. So then that's going to increase it. And what can happen over time is you can go from 8.5 hours, probably down to 7 hours, if your sleep quality stays high. And you can actually now find a really great rhythm that your body feels really comfortable with. And you start waking up before your alarm. You start operating and getting really tired at night and falling asleep within 5 minutes. And you start to really powerfully operate in how you're living.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep, you got it.
Justin, can we just bounce back just real quick to Logan's question? Logan, do you want to ask it on rep into failure? Because I think a lot of guys probably, when you were mentioning the strength training, Logan, you want to ask your question?
The question was, what are your thoughts on repping to failure on every lift, which is what I've been doing for quite a while, versus stopping like 1 or 2 reps before failure?
Yeah. So so repping to failure, what weight are you using to rep to failure?
What weight? Depends on the workout.
Sorry,
Usually,
what rep
range-
count?
Yeah, somewhere between 8 to 12 typically.
So again, and Logan, I know you're what, 30 years old?
27.
27, so not even 30. The people we typically work with and see come through our business, we work with people who are 30 to 60 years old. That's like our bread and butter all day long. The problem with going to failure while you waiting yourself in that rep scheme of 8 to 12 is that now you start to have, I always go back to risk versus reward. And the likelihood of injury going to failure is so much greater when you're going to failure rather than grabbing weight where you're going one to 2 reps shy. And here's the crazy thing is when we educate the right way, true 1 to 2 reps in reserve feels like failure to a lot of people. 1 to 2 reps in reserve should feel like failure when done properly. But the thing is, people go, oh, I've only got 1 more rep left. But the moment I get over them, or the moment we actually start going, they rep out 7 more. And you still haven't actually gotten out of it what you needed. And so the reason that I don't like going to true failure is number 1, for a safety issue. Number 2, from an injury issue. Yeah, don't be a bitch. That's right. And get yourself in a position where it can actually start to create some change. Now, for certain people, what we will start to do is we'll start to do isometric holds. We can start to go with time under tension, eccentric loading. We can start to go with single leg, eccentric, concentric phase, accelerations, different things of this nature. But I would never recommend going to failure unless we were going with something like a, like using it in a finisher or something like that. It'll have a lot of wear and tear on your shoulders and on your hips and on your knees over the course of time, and a high degree of likelihood of tendonitis at some point.
Got it.
Thanks.
Good
Yeah,
notes.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Absolutely.
Cool. So now I want to come into this, because what happens oftentimes, how many people have ever said, oh, let's go get a blood test, and now we get a blood test, now we have low testosterone, now we get low testosterone, now our next thing is we're being prescribed peptides and hormone therapy, and that's the way we go. Basically what I just described was 99% of every health guru out there and everybody who's pushing anything at this point. Here's what we have to understand. Hormones do a lot of things in the body. They open pathways, but they don't create anything. Testosterone does not build muscle. Testosterone does not create energy. Testosterone opens the pathways for amino acids to fill the muscle to build the muscle. Testosterone opens the pathways for ATP or glucose to enter into the cell to provide energy. Melatonin doesn't cause you to fall asleep. Melatonin binds to the adenosine receptors in the brain to open up for the ability to fall asleep. They don't create anything, they do everything. But down here, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids don't do anything in the body. If I gave you vitamin C, it doesn't do anything. What it does, it creates everything. It creates the activation pathway to go and create an immune stimulus. It creates the upregulating factor to actually go and create testosterone, to go and actually create cortisol, to go and actually create estrogen, progesterone, and melatonin. So when you have a testosterone issue, you don't have an injectable testosterone issue. You actually have a vitamin, mineral, and amino acid deficiency that has been going on for years that you had no idea about. When you have a decrease in inability to sleep, you don't have a melatonin deficiency. You have a vitamin, mineral, and amino acid deficiency that hasn't allowed it to actually be upregulated or used at the appropriate time. And that's what we have to figure out. Because when we do your blood testing, there's thousands of blood tests that get done. Usually there's things like this, tons of companies, they come into places like this, they go, hey, you should do blood testing and we'll get you into some type of thing. Well, it's likely a CBC, a complete blood count, a CMP, a complete metabolic profile, a lipid profile test, or maybe a cardiovascular panel. These are all what we call blood serum tests. And why do we do blood serum tests? Why does everybody do them? Because it tells us what's broken. And if we know what's broken, there's something we can give you to fix it. You're not producing the right liver enzyme. Your kidneys aren't functioning. These are important to do. We do them with all of our clients. But this is like level 1. If you're not doing this, it's like, really, what are you doing? What we need to know is we need to know what is actually getting from the serum into the cell. Because you can have high levels of vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K, iron in the blood serum, but when we go into the cell, you're deficient in all of them, which is why your immunity is so low, which is why you get sick often, which is why you have low testosterone, which is why you don't have any energy, which is why you have all this brain fog. And so when we know what you're deficient in and actually are not absorbing, we can now then get specific on your nutritional guidelines. We can then get specific and actually custom compound a single supplement for you that's built upon that. And then we can start retesting as you go and start engaging in new habits and behaviors to minimize your deficiencies and allow the body to heal and do what it was meant to do necessarily at the cellular level. So if we come back up here and we decrease the amount of cellular deficiencies in your body, does that increase or decrease the concentration of nutrients in the cell? If we eliminate cellular deficiencies, we drop the amount of cellular deficiencies, does it increase or decrease nutrient concentration in the cell?
Increases.
If we increase the nutrient concentration, does it increase or decrease oxidative stress?
Decrease.
Increase, decrease HRV?
Increase.
Increase, decrease cellular health.
Increase.
This is how we create true longevity. This is how we create true health. This is how we operate. And this is how we change the game. It's not just a question, it's inevitable. Because we're consistent and intentionally putting things in place over the course of time to make the outcomes purposeful, actionable, and impossible to fail. Because we've now have our body communicating to us with 4 different languages that if the languages are moving in the right direction, it's impossible not to see our business thrive. Before we started, Cary talked about 4 different levers you can pull in your business to be able to know whether things are working well. You guys probably have P&Ls that come to your desk every single week, every single month, every single quarter that you're looking at differently to make sure that the health of your business is thriving. This is the exact same concept in how we treat our health in a very purposeful, actionable way so that you can see a change that's going to actually help you get to where you want to go and steward your body well. Run your body like your business so you can have the energy, you can have the mental clarity, you can have the follow through that you know you desire. And so, kind of like I mentioned, we've just been so blessed to be able to do this for thousands of people around the country. Cary and I are working on how we can start to integrate this in a little bit deeper into what y'all are doing. Cary wanted me to have something for you guys today. So that cellular testing that we have is typically $1,400. I've got it for you guys today for $7.99. If you guys wanted that, I'll throw that link in the chat for you guys. Phlebotomist will come right to your house. They'll do the draw. You'll have a full debrief with our team, kind of go through it all. I'll throw that into the chat if you guys are interested. But this is what we do, and we attach people in with a really powerful team to be able to literally become the VPs of your guys' health, just as you have VPs in your business to help you run it in a successful way. So love to take questions, love to lean in and kind of see how I can best help and serve y'all.
Yeah, I think that link you put is like highlighted as a notes from the different levers. But guys, let's clap it up for Justin, for real. That was profound in its depth and simplicity as well. But yeah, the truth is test, don't guess. If you haven't got recent labs, I just got lab work done through Justin, and I'm going through their whole process. They have their cellular testing is very robust. It's over 120. Is that correct? Right, Justin? Different biomarkers tested with that cellular testing.
So if you think about this, you have 13 essential vitamins in your body. You have 110 essential minerals in your body, and you have 27 essential amino acids in your body. And so it tests every single one of those. And so the biomarkers are very different than when a cellular test or than a serum test is. For all of our clients, yes, we'll run your testosterone numbers, your hormone numbers, your cholesterol, triglycerides, HbA1c, et cetera, et cetera. But this is just the cellular test that goes into the cell that knows exactly what we're missing. So we're measuring all of everything that sits at the base of that pyramid so we can start to actually create some major changes.
Yeah. So again, no obligation here whatsoever, guys. It's just an opportunity if you want to go down that path, and really know more about what's going on inside the body. Thank you again, Justin, for all that. Let's open it up for questions, guys. Who's got one? Phil, did you have one? You unmuted? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, Justin, that was awesome. Really scientific. So I've been doing blood work for a while, and I'm consistently coming up with vitamin D deficiencies.
Yeah.
And my thesis is that because I've been taking heartburn medication for a while, that my body's not absorbing the nutrients. So question one is, do you think that is a possible culprit? Number two, it's really hard to get off these heartburn meds. Do you have any experience with that?
So yes, we do. So number one, the reason that you're going to have a consistent vitamin D deficiency is 3 reasons. Number one is you're missing an upregulator and a cofactor that is getting the vitamin D that you're taking from the serum into the cell. So the deficiency that you're seeing in the serum is probably even deeper in the cell, which is something to be concerned about. Second is the medication you're taking is probably stripping your cells of nutrients that you're not even aware of, which is where a lot of those cofactors and enzymes are coming from and where they're being missed. And then number 3 is just simply because of the use case of vitamin D. Vitamin D is involved in over 10,000 different systems and cycles within the body. You probably have other deficiencies that are also being made and created because of that vitamin D deficiency. So things to definitely be aware of and definitely be attentive to. And I think this would be like a really great, powerful start to be able to figure that out. But you said heartworm medication?
Heartburn.
Heartburn, got it. So when you think about heartburn, I would want to know, also understand more about your gut biome as to what's happening in the biome, as to understand, okay, where is that coming from? Because remember, any reaction the body is having is simply a language that's communicating something back that something's not right. And so what we do in America is we think that the body giving us a symptom, it needs to be medicated, where in actuality, it needs to be magnified. What is it trying to magnify within us that we can actually start to create some change within? But we have to know the language. And so that's something else that I would want to explore with you. But we've had people come off blood pressure medications. We've had people come off cholesterol meds. We've had people they were a type 2 diabetic for 25 years, and now they're not a diabetic because their pancreas magically turned back on. It's all of these things that we get to see the body heal, because that's what it was created to do. But we have to put the cells in the area necessary in order for them to start to thrive. And this is that first step to really understand that.
Great. And
Yeah, I love
Health
it.
Haven's right here I live in Fort Lauderdale, so I could go down
Yeah,
to
you
Health
got to
Haven.
kick it with Justin more, Phil, because he's in Fort Lauderdale. I can connect you guys. I know some of you guys have to jet, but Justin, do you have a couple more minutes just to
I got
answer
a
some
couple
of these
minutes,
guys? Yeah. All right. If you have to jet, love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching the recording too. This was a great guest guru training. Justin, a couple more questions. I don't know who was first. Zachy, you wanna ask yours?
Justin, thanks for your time, man. That was great. I'm 6'3", 210, but for some reason I have the cholesterol of Jabba the Hutt. I've been taking berberine and niacin and cholesterol pro that you can buy on Amazon, and it's not really putting it a dent. I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few things. So number one is anytime I see that, it tells me number one that we're eating things that our body is genetically not designed to be able to actually get rid of. So I don't know if there's perfect example, and we found this out by taking somebody through the process and working with them. But same thing, six-pack abs, rippling muscles, high rocks athlete, marathoner, but was on high cholesterol meds, had been on them for years because he was ultimately, that's what his doctor was telling me to do. And what we found out was that his body actually doesn't break down saturated fats at all. And so we had to eliminate all the coconut from his diet, was eating coconut all the time, had to eliminate all of the red meat and start to change up the types of proteins that we were going with. And naturally, over the course of 4 months, cut his cholesterol in half, completely off all medication within 9 months, and within a year and a half, had seen all the other numbers that weren't moving suddenly start to have transformational change. And so that's what I would look at you with is number one, what are the things that, again, cellular deficiencies? Number two, what are we genetically built to maybe not have a pathway that's open to be able to process some of the things that you're experiencing? And then the third one, the last one, is I'd come back and look at there's an oxygen deficiency issue. So what does it look like from actually being able to use oxygen to strip a lot of these things away? And usually it comes with oxygen efficiency, which is zone 2. And how does that zone 2 capacity impacting you?
Thank you, Justin.
You got it.
Yeah. Logan, you want to go next to ask it?
Yeah, that was a zinger on the personal development and not, diving into that 2 hours before bed as well, outside of just work. I like to read autobiographies and biographies before bed,
Yeah.
typically on like business titans and history's greatest entrepreneurs. And some are more story based, others are fairly tactical, but it still gets the wheels going a little bit. So,
Always.
what I recommend for that 2 hour period, if there's no like personal, because I like listen to podcasts and stuff before bed too. So, what's
Yeah,
the recommend?
so I'm gonna do this here.
Yeah, that messes my whole life up. I'm lying.
So when you think,
That was brutal.
so when you think 2 hours before bed, right? This is where we can really start to go into, I mean, I've got a wife, and it creates a great opportunity to now have like real connection time where we can actually have real conversation and actually just be able to enjoy one another. Secondarily, this is a great moment where I'm actually able to start being creative, where I actually start to journal, be able to journal and get my thoughts and ideas out. I don't need to create new thoughts. I need to take what's in here and put it on paper so that I don't continue to keep thinking about it. It's the cessation of something. It's taking it from here, what's existing, and putting it on paper. And that's the optimal time to start journaling. Breath work. You need to start working on you want to get more flexible, start incorporating some more stretching in. You want to go for a walk and start clearing your mind, connected with nature. Go intentionally start doing that. You want to go and have a sauna routine with a cold plunge at night. Great. That's a perfect time to start going and doing that. Prayer, breath work, getting in a solid night routine where you start getting that ability to connect back to what is meaningful and masterful. Like these are the things that you should start doing during that time, so you actually start getting yourself in a position that that gives you a better way to start processing.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
There you go. All right, who had another one? Did you?
How do you find out your HRV number?
Yeah, HRV through Whoop or Aura. So if on Whoop, it's under the recovery score. It'll have your HRV, or Aura under your sleep score. It'll have your HRV. And then if you don't have an Aura or a Whoop, again, I can send a link to, if you go join.whoop.com/own it, they'll actually give you a free Whoop band. And then if you go to auraring.com/own it, I think they give you like 30% off or something like that. So if you want to
We
use
can link
either of
those up in the follow-up email too, Justin, if you can have your team send me those.
Cool. I'll send you
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
And then secondly is, actually, Cary, I'll put it right here. Secondly, if you have an Apple Watch, it's not awesome. But if you go to Apple Health, and then from Apple Health to bottom right corner, click on Browse. From Browse, click on Heart. From Heart, click on Heart Rate Variability.
I'll probably just get an ordering.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. This was awesome. Like crazy.
Beautiful guys.
Yeah.
So quickly, I just if time, I just started with Function Health like literally, a month ago. I got my first blood draw a few weeks back. I've got my second, or last tomorrow. So far I've got a number of things that are like just like fractionally above, fractionally below. Honestly, so far like pretty good all around. When and where would you recommend kind of taking your test based on results, and how far to whack, or should you just take one in general just to know what's going on? Like where do you recommend that actually is
Such a great question. And I would do it immediately, JJ, because what Function is, I love what
Hyman.
Dr. Hyman's done, but really all he's done is he's made the same test that you would go to your doctor at available now to give you a PDF back. So instead of you going to the doctor and saying, hey, JJ, everything looks pretty good, just make sure you come get tested again next year, you now have names and numbers to each of these things. That's all he's done. He took a blood serum test, he took the blood serum test and made it now available to you. And so the fact that you've done that now, I would love for you to go and get that cellular test done, because now we can compare, and you'll actually start going, oh my God, my cellular testing told me that everything was good. Or pardon me, my serum testing told me that everything was good, but now all of a sudden I have 12 deficiencies. Well, yeah, and see how this pairs up to this and this pairs up to that. That's how this all is actually starting to move and bring everything together. So yeah, I would do it immediately.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great
Yeah.
time.
Thanks.
Awesome, gents. Any other final points before we close her down? All right. Let's clap it up one more time for Justin, y'all. Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Justin, for being on, brother. Appreciate you. And thank you all.